speakers, be sure to click mute original audio. Everyone must choose a language. Please do not stay in the default zone. Buenas tardes, estamos ofreciendo interpretación simultánea al español durante esta reunión. Si desea escuchar la interpretación en español, haga clic en el botón Interpretation o Interpretación en la parte inferior derecha de la pantalla Zoom. Verá un icono de globo terráqueo. Si se está uniendo a través de la aplicación Zoom para smartphone, seleccione su idioma haciendo clic en More o Más o en los tres puntos en la esquina inferior derecha de la pantalla. Seleccione el Language Interpretation, interpretación del idioma, luego elija Spanish o español y haga clic en Done o Listo. Si desea escuchar solo el intérprete y no los oradores originales, asegúrese de hacer clic en Mute Original Audio, silenciar audio original. Todos deben elegir un idioma. Por favor, no se quede en la posición de apagado predeterminada.
I will.
Okay.
We're now on your audio, and I should be good, and we can hear me.
I can hear you.
I think we've got to be good. Yes. All good, interpreter?
Yes. All good. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Okay. So I will call this meeting to order. This is our 5th SSC meeting. And today I will first ask for a motion to approve the minutes from our last meeting, December 3rd, where we reviewed the potential working evaluation for this year's SSC. Can I get approval of the minutes from last year?
I make a motion to approve the minutes from last meeting.
Thank you. Can I get a second? Thank you very much. We've taken care of that. Now we can move on to today's very important session, which is focused on our evaluation for this SSC. So last time we were here together, we had that opportunity to talk about 2 potential ways in which we can think of the evaluation. And we were talking about the way in which we can look at our data from the California Learners Dashboard in order to show that we have used our Title I funding towards our reading interventionists in a way that has created structures to close the achievement gap. And therefore, we hope show an improvement of targeted groups such as English learners in their academic achievements. So I will hand over at this moment. When we were talking about it last time, in our minutes, we agreed that we would wait and see that dashboard data. So today is our moment to have a look, and Dr. Diaz is going to take us through the California dashboard.
Okay, I just need, okay, yeah, I can share.
Perfect.
So I'm gonna pull it up here. Can you hear me? Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna share it right now. I just gotta share the right screen. Okay.
Perfect.
Okay, so I think everyone can see that if you're online. And the dashboard, for those of you that don't have any context, it is public. All public schools are on the California dashboard, and it's something that's reported every year. This is obviously last year's data. So after the spring testing data, it gets published roughly around October, but there's an embargo period. And then after that, it's fully published public by around November. It's up to the state when they release the data. So, but all of this data currently is basically from last year. So nothing, no students of this year, but all of last year's data. And there's basically a color coding system that goes from red to blue, red, bad, blue, good, right? And all of those rates. So in general, you'll see several categories. So chronic absenteeism is orange. Suspension rate is green, which means that we've actually dropped our suspension rate. And that's overall.
This is both schools.
This is both, yeah, one LEA, because we're in the California dashboard, we're listed as one local education agency. So it's one code. And then this is good, and I'm going to provide more context for this. English learner progress, because this is what our Title I funding is about. This is blue. We have not been blue, I want to say, since 2018. So pre-COVID. Last year it was orange. So this is good.
Yes.
And we can dive deeper into that. Now, some areas of improvement, English language arts, this is overall, now the entire student body, all 14, not 1,400 students from grades 3 to 8, because we don't test K through 2, yeah. And then mathematics is orange, all right? And then these are some other local indicators that we have too, but this is the standard areas that we report on, okay? So, and then these are other just additional details about the school and so on. But for any of these areas, we can dive deeper. So I'm going to click on English Learner Progress because that's what we want to be focusing on, right? So basically on here, now we've got a little bit more data. This is all students, and this is how we compare to the state. That's the only important measures. We can look at local, other schools that might be similar of demographics. But in terms of like a charter renewal, which is where we're going to be going through in the next 2 years, the only valid comparison is to the state. That's the only one that matters.
Is all students in AEA?
Correct.
Or all students in the United States? No.
All students for this
Okay.
is just
State
yes, and then
comparison.
state comparison.
Yeah, got it.
So where the state is, the state is in yellow,
Okay.
which for them means roughly they maintain 0.7%. They basically stayed flat. And it is hard to move the state because you're talking about millions of students, right? But yellow, but in our comparison, we're blue. And basically what this indicator says that 62% of our students, almost 63%, made progress by at least one level. So they either went from 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, right? That's a great indicator.
Yes.
And then overall, we increased 23.7% of in terms of achievement. Now, if we go to view more details, you can really get granular in terms of the different demographics of students that made progress for English Learner Progress, right? So these are the different groups. And this is English learners and then long-term English learners, okay? So even for our long-term English learners, actually even a better indicator. So for LTELs, which are students that have been categorized as 6 years or more. So a third grader would never fall into here because they wouldn't, right? It's usually by sixth grade or later. And these are students that have made, have been classified as a long-term English learner for at least 5 years or more. Okay, and this is a comparison to the state. We've also never had this. Yeah, so number of students that made progress was 91. And this particular one will be concentrated at the middle school, right? It's just
because they're long term.
you can't qualify. Okay. Yeah, you can qualify at elementary school basically, right?
Okay.
And then English learners overall here, this is the one, and this is the number of English learners that we had categorized in that area last year. Okay, so and then this goes into further granular data about year-over-year comparison. So you can see in 2019, 2022, obviously we have that COVID gap, right? 2023, right? And so you can see these are the ones, ELs who progressed at least one level, 36, 32, 45, 30, and then last year was 57%. So these are fantastic indicators because this is prior to COVID.
Yeah.
This is post-COVID, right?
Yeah, post-COVID looks quite horrible, actually, really.
So, and I will tell you,
we're better than pre-COVID rates.
Anecdotally, teachers are starting to say this is the first year that it started to feel like whatever normal was, right? Quote normal, whatever that means.
We're too young to know what that means.
Yeah,
right? We don't remember pre-COVID. God, that was a different myself.
Yeah, that was a different timeline, right?
Yeah.
So,
so that's a very good indicator.
And then so here, there's just some additional data. ELs who maintained the level 4. This means that they maintained the level 4, but they don't also they didn't reclassify, right? So there's about Yeah, they stayed. They met the LPAC requirement, but that means they also didn't pass the grade level requirement in order to reclass, right? So there's about 4% of kids, which is a low number when you consider, but we got to find out why, because this is where it's a little bit more on our ELD teachers.
Progressing, really. They're staying
Yes, they
stagnant.
stayed stagnant. And
Yeah.
these are students that can reclass. They're like on the cusp. So we got to find out.
And reclass as not an English learner,
Correct.
you mean? Now they're
Yes.
back into the, let's say,
Yes.
back into the bucket with everybody else.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. And we're still supposed to track that year over year.
That makes sense.
But these are the students we want to target because that means that's low hanging fruit. We can get them over the edge, right?
Yeah.
And we want to, as much as possible, do that before they hit high school.
Yeah.
Because now you're talking about high school requirements, and it just makes it that much harder for a kid to graduate, right? And then students who maintained 1, 2, or 3. So these are not close to reclassing in here. Now, the good thing is about this number is also reduced from prior years, right? Even pre-COVID. So 15% of the students who decreased, we also lowered that number. So it's good. That's a good indicator. We still don't want that 50%. We got to figure out what's going on, but that's also even lower than pre-COVID numbers. So some good data here. Yeah.
So can I ask
Yes.
a big question?
Sure.
If we have spent our funds on the reading interventionist for this year's academic year, but this data is looking at last year's academic progress, how do we tally those two things, or can we not? Can we only suggest that we have indicative data that we are moving in the right direction and we want to build on and wait and see what this looks like in another 12 months?
Right. So it is, we can. Good question, because I was going to move to the next thing.
Okay.
To some degree.
Yeah.
So there's correlation. Causation is hard to track, right? But correlation, yes. So we have an internal data dashboard, which is through Unified Insights. And what I did was I grouped all of the students that Laura shared with me from last year.
Oh,
so
good, the cohorts.
The
yes,
cohort, right? So this is just grades, and you'll see the student group. If you're a teacher, you have access to this, by the way, or you're an educator on Einstein, because you have access to PAI. I'm not going to get super granular because there's personal information if I click too far, and this is public right now.
Yeah.
But this group is the literacy and English support. So right now, what you see, this is default all of our students. So this is a clear snapshot of where we are as of yesterday. This is about 24 hours late. This is a little down, but in terms of attendance, for example, but you know that anecdotally, a bunch of kids got the flu and some staff too. So even just the last few days, the attendance rate went down. But now I'm gonna just filter out the groups that was receiving literacy support last year. And so you can see it's 87. It's supposed to be 88, but there's one student missing on here, and I'm not sure why.
Okay.
But I'll find that person. So you can see the demographic breakdown of the students, and you can notice that their attendance rate is also slightly lower than the general population, chronic absenteeism. But now this gives us a little bit more current data. So ELA benchmark, this is still last year's data, so fall to fall, and we could see the demographic breakdown of where they're achieving and what levels, right? And these numbers, if I mouse over it, are the raw numbers of students, right? And then this is how they're performing on math. Now, this benchmark assessment, I believe this is our MAP data. Right now, we don't have semester to semester because both schools have not completed the second MAP assessment. So both schools have completed the first year of the first semester diagnostic assessment. And I know some of our grade levels already did math, but and I'm not sure what date they do theirs. But once we have that, then we'll have a comparison from fall of this year to winter semester, right? When that's complete, then we can look at that. But until that's complete, we won't we won't have that data. So this is still last year's data, but you can see how they achieved last year. And then this is the ELA state assessment and math assessment, right? Overall. So this is the other piece where students must meet the standard in order to reclass, right? Obviously, this makes sense because they haven't reclassed yet. Okay. So this is just some of the data. This is just one dashboard that we can use. All of these are multiple dashboards. So depending on what data we want to look at, which we think is relevant, I can pull that in and it will create a dashboard or a visualization for us.
What about this CASP elementary that I can see? So for example, what I would really like to see in my mind is some indicator that.
So CASP elementary, again, this is just going to be kind of a regurgitation of this data.
Okay.
However, the only difference is these are students that are currently enrolled. Remember that dashboard data is all the students that were last year.
Yeah.
So some of them may have left. So this is current students that are enrolled, right? So this is mathematics, and then this is reading and literature. So, but again, we don't have semester, so this is still last year because we haven't taken a second assessment yet.
Right.
Once we do that, then it will populate the new data.
Right.
So maybe next meeting we might have it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's fine. I think we can have a look at that. I wonder if we could also ask, I wonder if Mr. Rizzolo would give us a little bit, because he ran that summer bridge, whether he could get those 18 students even more clean data, obviously not looking at them specifically, but he might pick them out for us. So I think that could be a follow-up.
I can do that. It would be easy to build a separate group. So with this tool, if you want me to track 5 kids, I can track 5 kids. If you want to track 500 kids, I can track 500 kids.
Okay.
Because it's just creating rosters.
Yep.
Yeah. So again, this is the map data, NWEA, but you see we only have 24, 25 because we don't have the new data yet.
So I will happily take an action to draft up. In fact, I'm going to I'm going to steal screen and draft up for you.
You want me to stop sharing?
But I can't do that. I cannot. I have a rule in my team which you cannot share your screen when you've got 3 million browsers open. You know, like that is like absolute Zoom poor show. So let me just do that again.
I'll stop sharing.
So one of the things that we're going to work on as an output is now putting together, and I think I can start a draft just to share an example, and I'll tag you in with the question. But what we now do is we start to say, and we'll move on in a minute and talk about the survey, but else I will take that as an action. We start to basically say, effective indicators are showing us this from some of those notes. What are we not seeing is going to be this. And I think we just pulled a little bit of data on that. And I will tag you in to help to fill in the gaps of my knowledge, just to start the ball rolling. Because this is basically going to serve as our homework. This is it. This is what we're going to kind of hand in. And we will pull the insights from this into 3 or 4 slides for the board meeting. And we'll call our SSC for the year wrapped as we go through. Now, we're not there yet because we haven't quite got the data, but we're getting there. Just letting you all know the flavor. All right, now, Lucas, would you like me to bring up the survey? Because I think, personally, I think we're going to get a lot of qualitative data that supports the reading interventionists. I think we are, right, at the end of the day, this year, we've spent the whole of the funds on reading interventionists in elementary school. My son is one of those. He is getting that reading interventionist and he has made phenomenal progress. And when I complete that survey, I think that's going to show that kind of data story where people are and we're going to have more insights, and that's going to show what is working and what's not working. And that will be exciting for us. So let me just pull it up while I've got screen shared from Lucas, the draft survey. Now then, before we get into the draft survey, the fun of the survey is that we must make sure that the survey is, especially in the current school climate, that the survey is ready to be received by and sent by all those who will care about the survey. What I'm saying about that is, of course, we are about to put out a survey into the world at a time at which there is sentiment in our school community about the school. And so, of course, we want to make sure that all powers that be approve of the survey before the survey goes out to families. That is just one note I want to make sure that I make, is that there is an approval process, and I would like to, who would like to take action? Like, it might be best if you get that approval for that we are going to send this survey, and we're going to survey the school community of families. We'll have questions that are going to give us information that might surface some great insights about the homework schedule, and it might also surface some upset or discontent. We don't know yet, but the second you ask for opinion, we're going to get opinions. Right?
As long as it's, I
Yeah,
think,
yeah.
focused
Made that
on,
point, yeah.
Yeah.
on the Title I, you know, whatever we have focused.
Yeah, the idea is to have something where it can not, if they are upset, they can say why. So,
Sure.
yeah. Let's say that, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, well, for some reason, as I'm looking at the file that you sent to me, Lucas, I'm not finding exactly, because
It's
I'm
in
on a
the,
wrong thread. I'm in a different thread, I think. Here we go.
So Voice of Families Qual is the name of the document. I did want to
Perfect.
say that I think we drafted more questions than perhaps we need. You know, some of these might be like ultra specific, and maybe we just focus on the reading interventionists. We also don't want to like lead the parents with like, would you benefit from our solution? And here's the solution.
yeah.
So I'm happy to see those questions either omitted or completely. Yeah.
Okay, here I have it. There we go. Okie doke. Here we go.
And we do have a leadership meeting scheduled for February, so I definitely can get feedback from the rest of the leadership team before our next SSC.
Okay, wonderful. I will put that in.
February 25th, I believe. So after that, yeah.
Perfect. All right. So, Lucas, do you want to just take us through? You're mic'd up. We are listening.
Yeah. So just kind of breaking it into a format that's easy to answer, using a kind of strongly agree to strongly disagree. Asking a couple of baseline questions at the beginning, like, you know, how generally you think your your child's reading skills are progressing. Then a follow-up. I won't go through all of the questions, but most of them are these strongly agree, disagree. We ask questions about whether or not the children could read 20 minutes by themselves. One of those kind of sensitive questions, does my child receive the school support they need at home for reading homework? There's what barriers. We've done a multiple choice here with not enough time, basically not enough time for two different reasons, a couple different reasons, like extracurricular activities, or you know, there's not enough parental support. That might be another sensitive question.
Yeah.
And then some of those questions I was talking about that might be a little bit too leading, what resources would make it easier to complete at home? So like readers theater is something Griffin had added. Thank you. A positive reward system, audiobooks, etc. A little question about the library books and whether students are, you know, taking them home and actually using them, reading them at home with the parents. And then lastly, we had talked just as kind of a brainstorm idea about the reading interventionist led Zoom at home sessions. You know, if parents are reporting that they're super busy after work, after school and with the regular routine, this would be of help for them. Yeah.
Which may be a leading question we
Definitely.
can't offer a service of. So
Yeah.
I've highlighted the ones that maybe you're at little risk as I was going through it. That this one, I love the idea, but it could be something, instead of checking it as a pulse check with parents, that we continue to dialogue internally if that is of any potential for evening, right? Because that's ultimately going to be an additional cost because we're suggesting that.
Definitely. Yeah. And I think we can get that pulse from the, you know, what barriers there might be at home, the question about barriers.
Yeah, I think so. It might lead us to get there.
Yeah.
I thought these were obviously, you know, really, I like what barriers at home, I think was great. I wondered if these ones were maybe you're trying to gauge the level that people are at.
Like reading level,
Yeah, and I don't know whether it might be
sensitive.
yeah, sensitive, or we're just trying to keep it as simple as possible, just two
Yeah.
that we could maybe, if we wanted to try and simplify it, that it could say they're progressing.
Okay.
If they're not, they've had access, they've had school support for at home, and then maybe the barriers.
Yeah.
maybe
I-
that's
I
enough,
think
just to
we
keep it
included-
short.
Yeah, we included 9 questions, but I was thinking 5 would be like that one or,
Yeah.
you know, quick little survey.
That way people will also answer it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The simpler the better, right?
20 minutes one is a good one.
Is a good,
Yeah.
It's proven, like it's
yeah.
proven that research.
Yeah,
there.
so I recommend that it's elementary to read 20 minutes in.
So my son has been reading 20 minutes home like pretty religiously, and he's like reading like chapter books now, and you know,
Yeah.
that's
Amazing.
great. It really helps. Yeah.
Whereas mine is like here on this, like, it's like dragging blood out of a stone to get mine to read. And yeah,
Right, right.
you know, I believe in that. And then the library one, you know, if Henry brings one more book home about snakes, no one who wants to read after 5 p.m. a book about snakes. I mean,
That's
anyway.
true because Thornton, my son, says the same thing where he'll pick level 1 books that are much too easy for him. He just like fly through that and then
Just like looking at
yeah, so
almost
like, that's not
picture book.
helpful.
So I think there's some good questions in here. So let's take an action to slim it down a little bit. And
Okay.
Lucas, if you want to take that again, and then we can get that back circulated, and then we will ask that Jose takes it to the leadership meeting.
Yeah.
And gets that approval. Maybe we'll get it printed out so you can really take it, get everyone to go, yeah, we think this is good to get out.
And then in terms of delivering it, are we good with how the electronic survey? Okay.
Yeah, Google form, electronic survey, however,
Well, we also have
do you use a Survey Monkey or something like that?
I can't remember the name right now. We have a platform
Yeah.
that we could create that on.
Yes, agree on that too.
Usually send the surveys to.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's the same one that
It's done.
the last one, yeah.
Yep. Okay. Well, I'm just going to take a quick action right now and just do it. You know, like we are, it's like, who knows my name on here? No, we're not going to, but I'm just going to put it in here. Revise, shorten, prep for leadership meeting. Yeah, because really the timing of it, when would we send it out?
Yeah.
Right. So we're in February. You're going to have your meeting in a couple of weeks,
Yeah.
get approval. If we were to send this out,
I could send it out after, after the leadership meeting as soon as you guys wanted to.
where's the next break? We're not going to break for a while yet. We're
break.
Week of March.
Come on.
last week of April.
blog in here. Okay, so but providing we make it way before a break.
Yeah.
we're gonna have it before
Yes,
a break.
yeah.
To be issued digitally,
You want to say March 1st as a just
really early March. There we go. And we can put that all in there.
Time frame to turn it in before break.
That's right. And then we can regroup again.
What's the
to
date for
review?
the leadership meeting?
25th, we
25th.
think.
5th, okay.
Yeah.
Of March?
February.
February.
No.
I know. I sometimes do things like that in a leadership meeting.
The first is the time frame of delivery.
Yeah, March 1st is a Sunday, so March 2nd, whatever. That's enough time.
Okay, pulling up my,
Questions, I don't.
yeah, if I keep it
Yeah.
nice and brief.
Yeah.
Okay, unless we have any public comments or anything else to discuss, I will wrap the actions that we have for today.
Is there a time frame for them to do the testing and the database? And
Great question.
Yeah, we,
Put it-
middle school should be done. I'll have to find out from Ms. Guarino I don't know when elementary does theirs.
Okay.
Because I think it's grade level dependent. But middle school already did math before break.
Yeah.
So I think now we're done. We're probably done or almost done
Yeah, we're
for,
wrapping up.
for
ELA.
ELA.
Yeah, Damien was doing Spanish.
Oh, yeah.
Next week. I
Yeah.
think,
So I think with the intention of, let me pull up our year at a glance. Never can I find the documents I want live in a meeting, it's just the common at a glance. Because I think it would be helpful. That was my 24-25. Let's have a look at what that is. Yeah, so we had March 17th of last year. We had our data in and we had a meeting with Dr. Scaretta, the principals, key members of SSC to go through what we had discovered. So last year we managed to shore up our data. I think we had it shored up by March 17th. We've not presented it or bring it to the board until after that date. So when we look again at our year at a glance and we think about our next meeting that is coming up, and I'm still trying to find get into my right drive here. Our next meeting will be possibly still polishing up this particular getting the survey ready to go, getting it released thereabout, because our next meeting, which I was just pulling up, is on March the 3rd. So really by that next meeting, we will intend, and I can pull that up again. Where's my Zoom? Here we go. Let me just share this. By that next session, really, we're getting to a place where we're intending to be able to look at that program evaluation. Now then, so you're going to meet with superintendent on the 25th and leadership, have a chat there, make sure we're good for the survey. So we can get that out early then. But I think we're a little bit delayed. So I think we'll probably be more ready and we can move this forward on around April 3rd. So we might instead want to think about whether or not we do a different date. But we can see, we can keep working towards it and see what we can get hustled over the next 2 to 3 weeks. So that by the time we come to March 3rd, we might have a week of data in on the survey, and we might have some updated California dashboard data or CAS map, etc.
So elementary doesn't do their second round of map until early March.
Okay. So maybe we think about pushing back a little bit. I mean, you know, one question we would have is, when is the latest at which the board would want to see the evaluation? I think we're okay.
Now, just for context, the only additional data is the map data that we would have.
Okay.
Right? Because there's not really other data indicators that is a strong indicator. Map is the closest thing that correlates to the state assessment.
I wonder how early in March we could get that.
Yeah. It just depends on when they complete it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll keep an eye on that to have that map data for early March. I think that's going to be critical for us to see how that money really helped us this year in the elementary. Other than that, I will take an action to draft up some of that working evaluation from what we're seeing as indicators. It'll be rubbish. I'm all about a rubbish first draft. You're here to make my draft better. I will just start the ball rolling. And Lucas is going to make some additions, get them to Dr. Diaz, and he's going to meet with leadership with all those bits and pieces.
Yep.
Okay, we will call this meeting adjourned. Thank you very much, everybody.